Hey all, Dr. Jared here. Welcome to part 2 of our Addressing Chronic Pain masterclass. So as we get started here, I hope you've already taken some good tangible, at least philosophical thoughts from our first masterclass. And, frankly, just want to appreciate you because you're the type of person who's taking time to listen, learn, engage, and ultimately improve your life. And so this one is meant to be a lot more applicable. We're going to cover quite a bit more things and a lot less philosophy. So this part 2 is a lot more on action. And so continuing on from where we left off on the last masterclass, talking about extremity joint pain, pain in your fingers, pain in your wrists, elbows, knees, shoulders, hips, feet, whatever. There's a variety of things that you can do, but we started to talk about stretching, yoga, flexibility. There are a lot of things in that department, and just like you can look up thoracic spine mobility, just like you can look up different yoga poses. There's a lot of stretching things that you can do to really help with that. But at the clinic, especially if you're a active client, Dr. Jake has put together a whole series of rehab videos that are fully complimentary. So you can very simply say, hey, can I have the rehab videos sent to me for my wrist, my shoulder, my whatever. We also, if you are just browsing online, if you type in chiropractic first of Rockford and then whatever extremity you're interested in, there will be multiple videos that pop up for things that you can do that will cost you nothing, that you can try, that can help with that. Of course, there's things like massage, anything in that department. If it is one of those things that's beyond baseline pain, it's something that you can ask to be addressed by us as your chiropractor. So we kind of tongue-in-cheek say we can adjust just about any joint below your earlobes. So if the joint is out of alignment or if it's not moving efficiently, that can be something. Just like if your tire gets knocked out of alignment, by repeatedly getting that joint adjusted, you can certainly decrease chronic pain in those areas. Additionally, Dr. Jake offers a couple of different types of therapy called shockwave therapy and then soft tissue release therapy, which are done in conjunction together. But the simplest thing, and you can do a $59 discovery visit or trial visit if you're interested in this on any extremity joint. But basically what he does is he goes in, he does a full orthopedic assessment looking for everything from muscle imbalances, ligament tightness, soft tissue damage, whatever it might be. And what shockwave does is it both helps with decreasing the inflammation, but it also stimulates your body to heal itself. It's indicated to increase your own stem cell activity. And so it's something that's been very effective. I've had it done, a series of treatments done on both my shoulders and my knees. My shoulder 2 years ago, between a combination of lifting and adjusting in athletics, every time I crossed this arm across my body, I would get a sharp shooting pain. So every time I swung a golf club, certain weightlifting movements, sharp shooting pain every time. I did one round of shockwave in April of 2023, and I have not had an issue with that shoulder since. So something to consider, especially when you consider the alternatives. So, the most common thing, if at any time you see a medical doctor or anything else and they recommend physical therapy, I always say I'm all for it. It helps with muscle balancing. It helps with a whole variety of things. Physical therapy essentially has no downsides. The things that I would personally weigh out or debate if it is more serious is what you're going to allow someone to inject. So, there was one of my favorite podcasts is Joe Rogan and Gary Brecka. And one of the things he mentions in there is research that shows that in a life insurance physical, if you have a cortisone or a steroid injection, that they estimate that you'll have that joint will be replaced. If it's one of the major joints, specifically, I believe he was talking about knees, it'll typically be replaced 6 years and a day after the first time you have a cortisone shot, if you continually have shots in that joint, because it has a whole variety of things. And Dr. Jake has a great longer video on it. But ultimately, if you look up what cortisone does, it damages the soft tissue of the joint. So it actually causes the joint to break down faster. So not only not getting to the root cause, but actually making the root cause worse faster, should you do so. Now, two other alternatives to something like a cortisone shot or possibly even surgery. One is called platelet-rich plasma, or PRP. This is something that we do have an option for you through nurse practitioner Angie here in the clinic, where they rent space from us. But also, even for instance, like Ortho Illinois, certain of their orthopedic doctors actually now offer PRP as a safer and healthy alternative. The downside, like so many natural things like vitamins, it's not covered by insurance. So you can sadly have a medication injected in your body and possibly have it be covered by insurance, or you could use something that's much more natural, much healthier, and has near zero side effects, and you get to pay for it out of pocket. But such is the life and the current system that we live in. Hopefully that will change here over time, but this is the current environment we live in. And the last one is stem cell therapy. So stem cell therapy is an injection of what they call mesenchymal or cord blood stem cells. We do have a video online that talks about 40 minutes about how stem cell therapy works, but it's a regenerative process. It's something that I've seen a lot of people have great success with, from a friend of mine who was a college wrestler who had 3 knee surgeries and couldn't even run a mile. And now 3 years later, he's doing ultra marathons, to my mother who had one in her hip. I've had a whole variety of family friends, and we've done them at the clinic now for over 4 years. So these are other options or opportunities, but now they are also done through nurse practitioner Angie. But these are all options that can help you decrease chronic pain, allow your body to heal itself. Now, transitioning into more of what I would call the things that we don't think about. I had a great conversation a couple of days ago with a client, and super fit guy in his 40s, very health conscious. And I said, hey, is it the heavy weightlifting that causes your low back, to really hurt? Is it the snow skiing? Is it sitting too much? Like what dramatically increases the inflammation or the arthritic pain that you get in your low back? And he said, out of all the things that do it, bad food or inflammatory food is the worst. And so we're getting into the holiday season right now. I mean, Halloween has already passed. And I can tell you, for a variety of people, they talk about how much candy their kids eat, but so many people transition into candy, more alcohol, worse, more carbs. And so here's the simplest thing with nutrition. Bad nutrition increases inflammation and therefore causes more pain. So 3 things to look at when you look at nutrition itself. Number 1, processed foods. The amount of chemicals, fillers, preservatives, damaging inflammatory things in processed foods. The less processed, the better. Number 2, sugar and any type of refined carbohydrate can significantly increase inflammation and can significantly increase pain. And lastly, bad fats. So omega-6 fats that are either trans fats or becomes trans fats, like most types of canola oils, most types of vegetable oils, things that are deep fried. So ultimately, what are you looking for? For things that you're going to cook with, you want to use grass-fed butter or ghee. You want to use avocado oil, coconut oil. Those are some of the best things. Olive oil is okay if you're using low temperatures or cold. But really avoiding those fats can really make a significant difference in chronic pain. And if you are living in chronic pain, doing a couple weeks or a month of our advanced eating program, which would be in any of the books that you were gifted as an active client. But the advanced plan has 5 simple rules: no refined carbohydrates whatsoever, cutting out high glycemic carbs or high glycemic fruits. So really cutting down to mostly like berries, green apples, lemons, limes, grapefruit, things like that. And there are lists either on the website at rockford.maxliving.com or in the books. And then just cutting out super carb heavy vegetables, like specifically potatoes, for a period of time. Second thing is avoiding bad fats and adding in good fats. The next thing is moderating protein. So trying not to have more than 30 grams of protein in a meal, because when you eat high amounts of protein, in some cases that can convert to ketones, which is similar in inflammation to carbs. But again, there's less concern with that. But for a more detailed approach, watch our Nutrition 101 video or look this up in your book or online. But those are things nutritionally that can make a big difference in your overall pain. If you haven't thought about that before, I'll tell you, this will be my 14th holiday season as a chiropractor, and the same people who do exceptionally well in the spring and fall frequently have more pain in the winter, especially around holiday time. And I can't tell you how many people don't correlate it to it. In fact, I even had one family member, they were like, I just don't get it. My back is killing me. It was like, it was right before Christmas. And I was like, hey, how many holiday parties have you been to? And they counted it up, and it was literally, they'd been to 16 holiday parties. And I was like, how many of those parties did you drink excessively at? And they were like, well, not horribly, but yeah, I had several drinks. How many did you eat? Bread, refined foods? And it's like, yeah, well, all of them. And I mean, the same, she comes once a week for adjustments, but it all of a sudden was not working as well. And I'll tell you, looking at and planning ahead around the holiday season, but any season, vacation, summers, any of that can give you a much better quality of life. The next thing to talk about, detoxification. So we live in, frankly, a toxic world. Well, I'm going to use this, and you can use whatever framing you want for it, but I'm going to say God created you to have a whole variety of organs, kidneys, liver, skin, that detoxify your body. We are at a point in human history where there's so many chemicals sprayed on everything from the surface that you touch if you're in a public place, to what you breathe in, both inside and outside, to everything that's in food, to what's injected into your body, to what you clean your toilets with. I mean, there's so much toxicity that, frankly, for most people, the human body cannot keep up. So detoxing on a regular basis. So if you're dealing with chronic pain, trying the detoxification supplements and cleansing your system can absolutely help with pain. But one of the things that you maybe don't look at as a toxin is medication. Medication is a chemical. So whether it's achieving your desired outcome or not, ultimately it does toxify your body. And there's a few things that I think you should think about, or that you should know when you think about chronic pain, especially. First of all, 9 out of 10 side effects. So the average person has 10 side effects if they consume a single medication. 9 of those side effects tend to be silent, especially in the beginning. So there'll be people who say, like, I've been on this blood pressure pill or this antidepressant or whatever for 10 years. It's never caused me a problem. And now I've been dealing with chronic pain or this autoimmune condition or whatever for the last several years, not linking it to the drug they were on. Taking 2 drugs multiplies that. One study showed that there's 81 side effects if you consume 2 medications. Statistically, if you get to the point of 3 medications, there's a likely over a 50% chance that one of the medications you're taking is from a side effect of the other medications in your body. And if you get to 5, it's a statistical guarantee that one of the medications you're taking is complications to drug interactions. And there are absolutely 0 studies that test how medications interact with each other. So if you're taking it, you are the experiment. And I want to use one drug as an example, one that, if you've read the book, The Paleocardiologist, you're already avidly aware of. And if you'd like a copy of The Paleocardiologist and you're an active client, feel free to request a copy at the front desk. But in The Paleocardiologist and in a whole plethora of other research, one of the drugs that they really talk about having major detrimental effects on most humans, or a percentage of humans, and some people genetically have a really high likelihood of this, is people who take cholesterol-lowering medications, specifically the drug class statins. So statins are lower the amount of cholesterol that your body produces. But one thing you might not think about is, as you age, your body is supposed to produce more cholesterol to help you repair. When you work out, you're supposed to make more cholesterol. When you get injured, you're supposed to make more cholesterol. When you have surgery, if you have stress, you're supposed to make more cholesterol. And so by lowering that, it can actually cause your body to become more damaged, which is why most studies show that people who take cholesterol lowering drugs may have less heart attacks, but actually don't have a decrease in overall death rate because of the increase in things like cancer, liver failure, and a variety of other things. Also, that drug, and since we're talking about chronic pain, not only is linked to dementia and Alzheimer's, but major chronic pain syndromes and muscle fatigue and muscle wasting. So why? Because your muscles can't repair. So what if one of the medications you're on or multiple of the medications interacting are actually doing one thing but causing chronic pain, which is why I can't stress enough that when you look at your body and your health and the value of yourself, how vitally important it is to, if you need and must take a medication, of course, do so. If it's life-saving, of course, do so. But anything you can do to allow your body to heal on its own so it's not necessary can radically change. And there's also some very similar links to things like vaccination injections, yearly flu shots, because they're linked to gut inflammation, and gut inflammation can lead to leaky gut. And so basically more toxicity is more inflammation. So detoxing out of your system. So there's a few things to, when you talk in the detoxing realm, that really should be considered or thought about. Leaky gut. So leaky gut, if you've taken painkillers, especially ibuprofen and things like that, you may have developed leaky gut syndrome. And if you're not familiar with leaky gut at its simplest form is the medication or foods or chemicals that you've consumed now put holes in your intestines. And so the holes in your intestines, when you eat daily foods, they actually start to be treated as an allergy. And so we do have a leaky gut protocol. It's through our Metabolics program, which you can set up if you're a current client, a complimentary appointment with nutritionist Mackenzie, so a full-time on-staff nutritionist. Another thing are bacterial imbalances. These can lead to massive amounts of inflammation and pain. So how do you get bacterial imbalances? Well, 70% of all antibiotics that are consumed are actually consumed by animals that you eventually will eat as a human. So for whether it's dairy or meat, they're done what's called prophylactically, meaning they're given to the animals to keep them alive because they're kept in smaller or more confined areas. But also, if you've taken more than 2 antibiotics in your entire life and have never done a gut healing protocol, bacterial imbalances can affect the way that you digest food. They can cause gas or bloating. So a couple things that you can do are first of all, we carry a simple product for bacterial imbalances called Max GI, Max Gastrointestinal. And then we also have something called Gut Renew. And these are products that you can use. I recommend using them for a few months. And they're going to go through and kill the bad bacterial overgrowth, ideally, and replant the good bacteria in your intestinal tract. We also, again, can test for that through some of the Metabolics programs. And when I say Metabolics, there are 3 to 4 main different test kits that nutritionist Mackenzie offers that can look at everything from your gut bacteria to vitamin and mineral imbalances, to toxicity issues, to addressing leaky gut, and then put a protocol together to help you heal those. And she doesn't just put it together herself. We pay a retainer for a national scientist that reads the studies and then puts the protocols together. Vitamin and mineral deficiency. So everything from being vitamin D deficient, which is a complementary test in your yearly blood work to look at, to a variety of other ones. Having low levels of that can cause, and vitamin D, for example, affects everything from inflammation, chronic pain, mood, osteoporosis, and so many people are deficient, and some people don't supplement at all. Most people don't get outside enough, and those that supplement, way over half of Americans that supplement with a vitamin D product that's cheap and flat out doesn't work. So you have to have certain types. We do carry a great product. There are plenty of great products out there, but testing for that. And the last one is food allergies. So part of the leaky gut protocol or leaky gut syndrome can cause inflammation or pain in your body. Your body can develop food allergies over time. And so we do have a test to test that as well. Very similar to how ridiculous it is that your insurance will pay for cortisone, but it won't pay for PRP injections. the best specialist in the country, the state, maybe they can get access to this and I don't know about it, but on average, the most amount of allergens tested when you go see the specialist is 39. Now, again, that may have changed in information I don't know about, but what I find amazing is the tests that are sold that aren't covered by insurance on average test 600 at a time. Why in the heck aren't 600 different allergens being tested? I don't have that answer. You can make your own assessment, but ultimately these are things that you need to consider if you're dealing with this. Another thing to look at for chronic pain when you're talking about food or toxicity, most people don't eat enough omega-3s. Omega-3s like what are in fatty fish. And so I'll give you one simple example. If you eat 2 to 3 servings of fish per week, in general, you should have a good ratio of omega-3s to omega-6s. Omega-6 fatty acids are the ones that are more inflammatory. Omega-3 fatty acids are the ones that tend to be anti-inflammatory. And again, for more information, watch our Nutrition 101 video or request us send it to you, which we're happy to do so. But if you don't eat fish, good sourced fish from 2 to 3 times a week, then you probably should be taking an omega-3 supplement. We carry great supplements. You want, again, ones that are wild caught, that are smaller fish, that aren't just compressing the organs and the skin. And I go through that in our supplement seminar. But some other things that we offer, I mentioned the metabolic testing. You can set up what's called a life risk questionnaire, an LRQ, with nutritionist Mackenzie, and she's happy to go through any of these things. You can either do self-directed weight loss programs, or we offer a paid-for weight loss program that does average more than 20 pounds in weight loss in 42 days. Dr. Alex, who many of you know, lost 27 pounds on that program. Mary, who we just did a testimonial video. There's a whole variety of people who have just seen exceptional results with that. And lastly, for helping with pain, inflammation, and supplementation, we offer the product that Gary Brecka talks about again on that podcast. It's genetic testing. We offer it, I would say it's the exact program or the exact testing for literally less than half. We offer it essentially at our cost. And so I've done that. I've modified my supplementation to that. So has my wife. So has the majority of my family members, many of our staff members, and quite a few of you now attended our last genetic seminar. And so that is one of those tests that you only ever have to take once, and you can customize your supplementation to get the absolute best results, which can, of course, help with chronic pain and chronic pain management. So those are a whole variety of things that you can do that are going to help get you results. Now, next thing to talk about, sleep. If you want to talk about things that help with pain, getting enough sleep, 7 to 9 hours of sleep for most adults, even more than that for children. Dark room. We go over this in a lot of the seminars. We just did a sleep seminar. It was the seminar previous to this. So if you want to know more information about how to get higher quality of sleep, deeper and more regenerative sleep, watch that seminar or request that we send it to you. And we also carry a product that can help you get higher quality sleep called Sleep and Mood. And we're happy to go through that with you. The next topic to talk about for managing chronic pain is exercises, and specifically spinal rehab. So chiropractic care and regular routine chiropractic care has research studies that show everything from doubling immune system function to lowering allergies to more effective pain relief than any type of drug or surgery out there. Even things like Consumer Reports that are voted on by people, chiropractic consistently comes as the #1 most effective way for managing chronic pain. Some things I think are so cool about regular chiropractic care is shown to stagnate, stop, or the medical term is called retard arthritis. So depending on, there's a variety of factors and effectiveness, including frequency, injury rate, age. But these are things, if you think arthritis comes with age, I'll give you one simple statistic. The blue zones, the areas in the world where people live to over 100 years old, in the autopsies of people over 100, 46% of people had no arthritis in their spine. So think about that. How can that be? It means that while you might even have genetics for it, arthritis does not have to come with age. Similar, there's MRI studies that show that chiropractic care on a regular basis can help discs repair and regenerate each and every time that you're adjusted. There's things like the hump in the spine, where people, you see on women especially, that's a sign that of vertebral subluxation, or the spine being out of its normal alignment. There was one really cool study done that showed that people with MS, and I have a cool story that's actually in my family. I have a family member who has managed and helped significantly slow the progression of his MS for more than 16 years now. He had a herniated disc in his neck, radiated down, ended up having surgery. This was before I was in chiropractic school, at least. And something unique happened shortly after that, whether you want to say correlation or causation. Developed MS. For the most of his next 16 years, went through a corrective program and typically 2 adjustments a month, and has been able to significantly slow that process. But why would that happen? How could chiropractic be linked with MS? So think about this. 70% of spinal fluid motion up into your brain is affected by how well your neck moves. And so when they look at MS at its simplest form is plaquing on the brain and toxicity or damage. So when you get more spinal fluid moving through your brain, you can add more nutrients to the brain. You can remove more processed toxins from the brain. And so if you were very stiff, if you had whiplash, if you were in a car accident, if you herniated a disc, if you have spinal stenosis, you think you're more likely to develop a condition like MS or a variety of other neurologic and neurotoxic conditions than if you had full range of motion and mobility in your neck, let alone whether you have pain or not. Because keep in mind, only 10% of your nerves actually feel pain. Another thing I'll tell you, one thing that I found very interesting, and I'm not speaking for all surgeons, but twice in the last 2 months, I've had 2 different people bring up to me that off the record, their friend or someone they know personally off the record that was a spine surgeon told them, I would do anything I possibly can before I would have spine surgery. They were like, I'd do stem cells. I would do all the chiropractic I possibly could. I would do injections. I would do PT. I would do spinal decompression. I would do massage. I would do acupuncture. Because when you get down to it, while spinal surgery has a great place and in some cases is necessary and life-saving, there's no going back if it doesn't work. And you probably know the statistics. If you have 1 spine surgery in your life, depending on your age, you'll typically have 3 to 5 with lower success rates each and every time after the first. And so this could be something that's true for a child with scoliosis. So if you're thinking like, hey, I've never had my child assessed for their spine, regardless of their age, are they an athlete? Are they a musician? Do they sit and look down at their phone too much? This is why my children get adjusted on a regular basis. This is why we believe so strongly in checking kids. But also, I'll use an example. I have a good friend of mine. He's a max living chiropractor out in Idaho. His name's Ryan Sousley. He has a fracture in his back that's pretty severe. It's called a spondylolisthesis. And it's from being an incredible athlete, from playing college football, actually tried out in the NFL Combine, just to give the ratio. But with the wrong hit, could have paralyzed him potentially. And so he's still, even with the things that he's done at 41 years old, too frequently will have issues with the disc in his lower back. And he met with a spine surgeon that actually they share their kids around the same soccer team, and they met and they talked about, and he's head of spine surgery, and the long and short of the story is that surgeon said every single thing I just told you, do absolutely everything. And this is why when you talk about self-value and self-assessment, I can't reiterate enough. The reason you might eat an apple versus a Snickers bar is not necessarily that it tastes better, but the difference in what it does for you. The difference in why you invest in grass-fed meat versus conventional meat is how it processes in your body. The reason why you get up in the morning and go to the gym instead of taking the drug is all the side effects and the quality of life that it leads to. And there are some of you on this line or that are watching this that can't ever fully be pain-free. And that's difficult. I'm not here to say what you should do. I can tell you that my hope as you watch this is you look at it as a way of empowerment of what can I do? You know, from the last thing I want to quote here from the study Desk Bound, which was government sponsored. It was this huge study. There's a huge book on it. My biggest takeaway from that is the New York Times wrote an article years ago where they put sitting is the new smoking. That was what it was called. Sitting is the new smoking. And ultimately what it talked about is those that sit for a living, those that sit many hours per day were having the same amount of heart disease and heart attacks and deaths as those who were a certain amount of smoking. I don't remember the number anymore. But here was one of the craziest things. One of the parts of that study that's not in the article that you can Google, but the one that if you have to read the in-depth part is they said, for every hour that you sit, if you did 1 to 2 minutes of rehab to undo the sitting per hour, you would essentially negate the results of the study. So if you sat 10 hours a day at work, if you did 10 to 20 minutes of stretching and rehab, sitting was not the new smoking. It was as if you ignored it or if you waited till there was a serious problem. And this is ultimately the point. So I hope my request for you is to pick at least one thing that you are committed to do. And that is the second mystery word. It's action. Commit to one action that you're committed to do and take that action and improve your life. And if there's anything we can do to help, please ask us when you come in for an adjustment. Schedule extra time, schedule an appointment with nutritionist Mackenzie, schedule an appointment with Jake, or for a decompression consult, or just ultimately to make a better plan, supplement-wise or whatever. But empower yourself to live better for yourself, but those that love you the most. Have a very blessed